And interestingly enough, anecdotally, he was the first paid campaigner the Wilderness Committee had back in 1987. Joe.
Well, thank you very much. I'm going to keep my little talk real short. I am not a scientist. What I am is I'm just a person who was born and raised in this part of the world, love this place where we live, care about it deeply, and I understand that the truth matters. It matters how things work. Good decisions mean a good life, and bad decisions mean a life trying to fix your mistakes. And that's why science matters. Now, I've worked with the Wilderness Committee for a long time. We've worked with so many of you, so many of other organizations, First Nations communities, to get protected areas, to get proper environmental laws. And why I'm happy to be here to speak today is I've noticed a constant and steady erosion of having science speak to us when we're trying to make our decisions. And that's a big, big problem. And I'll talk to you just a couple of examples. You know, there's a mine up in the Chilcotins they wanted to build at a place called Fish Lake. And it was turned down because of big impacts on grizzly bears. And yet I've watched, to my horror, that mine project has come back. As far as I can see, it's going to have the same impacts on those South Chilcotin grizzly bears. And that's why science matters. It matters that our biologists have a chance to speak and tell us about what's going on. Woohoo! More and more at the Wilderness Committee, you're going to hear from people today who are scientists. More and more at the Wilderness Committee, we have to rely on legislation called Freedom of Information legislation. So information that all our tax money paid for, whether it be in the training of scientists at our universities, in the gathering of that information, we paid for that. We should be able to get access to it. And more we have to rely on legislation to try and pry that out. A lot of the information is blacked out. They charge money to the people who want to try and get it. And it takes a long time. Sometimes it takes as much as a year to get critical information on critical decisions. We saw that happen on the run-of-river private hydro projects, where it took us a long, long time to find out that fish were being killed downstream of these things. Lately, we've all got a very big thing to face, and that's, you've probably heard about the disappearing bees, the disappearing pollinators. Well, it turns out for almost 10 years now, Canada and other jurisdictions have been using a class of pesticides called neonicotinoids. And they have been brutal on our pollinators. And that's a big, big deal.
Yeah. Woo!
And we need our science in issues like this, and issues like the pipeline issues, and so many issues. So thanks for coming out today. This is going on all across the country. I'm very grateful to the organizers for doing this here and in the other towns. Let's get this turned around. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joe. You always rock the house. Now, I'm very honored to introduce our